Hi, my name is Tina and I live in Connecticut, and I'm here to share a story that I feel is very, very important to share. I have lost two children to addiction, and I know I'm not the only one that has experienced this. And if you have experienced it, I think you know that this is not going to be treated as if your child had cancer, got into a car accident. It's just treated differently. That's just how it goes. That's society, unfortunately. In 2021, both my children were functioning alcoholics. My daughter went to sleep one night back in 2021 and she passed away in her sleep from cirrhosis. A couple months ago, June, well, actually last month, June, I'm sorry, I'm nervous. This is my first time making a video. Last month, I was at the gym on the treadmill when my friend messaged me a screenshot of Connecticut Police Live, and it just said, body found in North Windham. Now, I don't know why she sent me that. I do live in North Windham, but at the time, she had no idea that my son Ryan had been missing for about a week. For him to disappear, it really wasn't that unusual because sometimes he would, when he relapsed, I mean, he did have sober time for periods. He just completed a full year of sobriety, and then last year, unfortunately, he relapsed. So something in my heart said, whoa, okay, something's not right. I think that's my boy. So I got in my car, drove right to the police station, and of course they wouldn't give me any information. They said this was a state police manor. So they connected me by phone to the police department in a couple towns over, and I spoke to a woman officer. I explained to her that my son had been missing and that I know there was a body found and that I was concerned it might be my son. She took down my name, my number, all my information, his information, and she was like, at this time, we can't release any information. I said, okay. She said, I need you to go home, stay home, do not go anywhere. She said, if it is indeed your son, it's not going to be by a phone call that you hear about this. The state police will drive straight to your house to tell you in person. Okay, so I leave there. I'm still hopeful, like maybe it's not him. Maybe he admitted himself back into detox because he has done that before and called me like, hey mom, I'm back in detox, I'm back in rehab. So I still had a little bit of hope. I got home, I notified my ex-husband, Ryan's father, and he said, yeah, I heard about that too, about, the body. He's like, I'm worried. And he was like, I'm going to call the police. And I said, you don't have to call the police. I already did. They're, let's pray it's not him. So he did his thing at home. I did my thing. I was trying to stay busy, but of course my mind's spinning like a lot. I click on to the, it's called Connecticut Live Police, and it's a Facebook page where, when there's something happening news-wise that involve the police, it's on here. And so I clicked on it just to see if there was anything going on, and hopefully I can get this to work. But this is what I heard. Just give me a second. Okay, come on. Hey.
In front of the Walmart. Caller's gonna meet you and direct you into the woods where they feel they found a dead body with maggots on it. 585 is the route to that. Data 1419. The FDA is on scene and it's a confirmed 44.
Okay, I don't know how clear that came out. Unfortunately, I'm an amateur. I've never done anything like this before. But did you hear the part about body found with maggots on it? That was my boy, okay? And the comments that people were writing, this is before it was confirmed that it was him, were unbelievable because he passed away by Walmart And there was a Wendy's near there, and people were writing stuff like, was there chili served with the body? And, and that's what happens when you eat at Wendy's. You die, and just comments about him being a homeless person. Sorry. Okay, so like a couple hours later, my ex-husband called me. I'm sorry, I'm gonna try to get it together. And he said the state police just called me and they asked me if I was related to Ryan Major. And they said, we have your son's body was found. I fell to the ground. Like, I couldn't believe it. First of all, like, by phone, really? They were supposed to come to my house and tell me in person, or him, you know what I'm saying? So I tried to, my mom is 85 years old. She's trying to help me get up. We jump in the car. I don't know how I did it, but I drove to the police station and met my ex-husband there. And when I had the chance to talk to the cop, I'm like, are you sure it's him? Like, are you sure? He's like, yes, we're sure. I said, is there any chance there was foul play involved? My head was spinning. I had so many questions. And he's like, no, we found his body and he had, like bottles of alcohol around him and other things, but no belongings, no phone, no wallet, no nothing. Okay, so I'm in shock. My ex-husband's in shock. We drive home and everything's a blur after that. My goal at that time was to give my son the memorial service that he deserved, okay? Because he was somebody. He wasn't a dead body on a sleeping bag. He was somebody. He was a musician. He was a caregiver. He was loved by so many people. Anybody that went to his service can tell you that. Like, he was so loved. He touched so many lives. I don't know if you can see that, but that's my boy. He was 36 years old. So I did the service, zombie, just getting it done. And, a couple of weeks pass, maybe like 10 days pass, and I said to my husband, I got to go out there. I got to see where he passed away. So he drove me there. It's literally 2 minutes from my house. We found it right away, and I'm going to tell you why. What we saw was horrifying. His sleeping bag was there, and there was tons of medical gloves thrown all over his sleeping bag, left there. There were cans of Duster, which I don't know if you guys know what that is, but it's something you can inhale to get high. And there was an empty bottle of vodka, which I don't expect them to pick up his garbage. But the gloves, dude, I am so traumatized over this. That vision, that voice describing my son's body. So I had made him, I'm an artist, so I had made him a plaque, like a stone, and I painted it really pretty. I put his name on it. I wanted to place it there, just in memory. We couldn't get out of there quick enough, though. I didn't clean up. My husband, we were like, let's just go. So about a week passed, and I can't handle thinking of his place. Oh, and excuse me, he had belongings everywhere. There was the second time we went back, when I was more, I could look more, clothing, books, suitcases full of his yarn. He was a knitter. He loved to knit. And, personal papers were there. So that cop lied. He said there was absolutely nothing near him except, the paraphernalia. So anyways, I took my youngest son with me. He was amazing. He did all the cleanup, and I'm, digging an area. I placed a cross there. I wish I could show you pictures, but I don't know how to do that, on a video. Made it, more presentable. And we left, and it's been a month, and the point being is his death was not investigated. It said investigation underway. There's no investigation. They looked at it as a homeless person that died from drinking, okay? No respect at all, nothing. The way this went down is horrifying. It's traumatizing for me, his father, all my family. You know, he's got a meme, he's got an uncles, he's got his brother. And, you know, I'm sorry, but yeah, I carried him for 9 months. He was a human being. He was talented. And this was treated like he was a loser, nobody. And I just feel the need to get it out there because I know I'm not alone. I'm sorry. I know there are so many people out there that have lost their adult children to addiction. I know there is. I know I'm not the only person. I know that. And I want you to know that I know your child was, and I would tell my kids this, your alcoholism does not define who you are as a person. It's one chapter in your story, not your whole story. And for those out there that have experienced anything similar, the lack of empathy, the lack of support because of how they died, I want to hear from you. I care. You're not alone. And I just felt it was really important to tell you how this case was treated just like my son was a nobody. And he was somebody. And again, I really, you know, if you've gone through anything similar, please comment. Like, I really want to know. And thank you so much for listening. I probably left a lot of details out, but I just felt the urgency to spread the word. I did try calling the local paper to get to have an article written, but you know, they're busy. The story's probably not big enough. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna do my own thing. And if I can help anybody or like just be there for somebody else, I want to do that. And I really appreciate you guys listening, and God bless you. And my Ryan was somebody. Thank you.